I got a new. Oh, we're live. We're real.
You were gonna say something?
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to mess up your show by going into
No.
personal stuff. I took a new job
Oh,
as a.
wow.
It's like a language company, and my first assignment is to mentor a girl from Russia.
Wow.
I'm excited.
Interesting. Yeah.
Excited. They're getting all the paperwork together, and I had to negotiate a salary and they talked about future assignments and different things. So it's been fun just to go through the process.
Nice. That's a good sign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess this girl, she's moving here from Russia, and I guess she does real well in school and her training.
Yeah.
So she knows English, but what she needs me for is to mentor her to be able to talk Texan and to be able to understand. So I'm going to like shadow her a little bit and do some things. Maybe I'll
Nice.
bring her to one of your things here just so she can
Cool.
talk with other folks besides me. And then the other parts I have to meet with her at places that we determine.
Okay.
And if it goes well, they have these other assignments they've been talking to me about. So I'm excited.
Nice.
Yeah,
Sounds fun.
yeah.
Yeah. So well, let me get this up on the Facebook Live. Uh,
We're all homesick.
huh?
My family, we're all kind of homesick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got well, my daughter and my granddaughter have like an infection, like an ear, nose, throat
Yeah.
infection. I guess it's from allergies. I guess they gave it to me.
Oh,
I'm just dealing with
bummer.
it. Go to so many doctors for so many other things. We'll see what happens here. I'll steal some of their cough syrup. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I've been going out to like a couple places and playing my trumpet a little bit.
Oh, nice. Yeah, lucky world to have you there to do that.
Oh, thank you. I'm not at the top of my game, but I'm at
Yeah,
least
but
making an effort.
your game is so up there. It's like just anything is still good, I'm sure.
It's good to get out there. I'm taking a different approach nowadays, but I've been out a couple times and I'm fighting through a lot of personal things, losing my teeth and just different things. But I'm just blowing right
Right.
through it. I'm doing the best I can.
Nice. Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. So I was wondering like if I should go on with what I'd planned, or if we should go over a few things with this
Well,
this
you could use me as a review person for anyone else that's watching or wants to do, and you can stay on your purpose if you want. I'll just kind of work with you if you want, since I'm here, and do what you think, and I'll just ask me, include
Okay.
me in, and we'll have some fun. Is that
Well,
okay?
yeah, that's fine.
We can do a little
I
catch
think
up.
for now it would be good um to talk about the show and what what's going to be
Oh, with
happening.
Dale and those guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
because, well, here we are together, and I think it's fine to share kind of back office type things.
Yeah,
So
yeah. These are a couple guys that have contacted me that I've known for years. And right away, of course, when something's going on and it's down our alley, I want to include you. So I'm not really sure where they're going, and they're not yet. We're in at the ground floor.
yeah,
So we're like charter members along with them, and they're trying something new.
all
These are
right.
guys that are kind of retired, and but they don't want to just sit around with the grandchildren only and have all the fun like I'm having. They want to try to do something.
Yeah,
So these are guys that own businesses, and they made it took some hard knocks during COVID times and all that. And I know I know Dale had a music store and he had to close it down,
hmm,
and he used to play bass guitar with me a lot. He says he has arthritis now and things, so he's looking for a new way, but he wants to do something meaningful. And
yeah,
I think he's got a good heart and he's on the right track. So I try to
yeah.
support him. A lot of the ideas I give him, he follows through and does things. And he's been complaining to me lately that he says I'm a little bit hard to get a hold of, but I'm just busy and doing stuff. So I just do the
Good.
best I do the best I can. And I've been always feeling bad that I kind of haven't been missing your thing here and other people's too, but it's just hard to do it all.
Yeah, for
It's just
sure. Yeah, it's good to have you, um, but it's fine otherwise too. And that was an
I
important thing.
like from my own perspective, I don't want to let people down, so I'm afraid to commit to things that I can't follow through on.
Yeah.
And just got a lot of things going, but I've been telling people lately that maybe for the first time in a long time, I look forward to the next day in life. You know what I
Nice.
mean? There were times where I
Yeah.
stayed up all night thinking, oh, 4 more hours, 3 more hours, I gotta put up with tomorrow's problems. Now I just look forward to the next day. I got so many happy things
Wow.
going, and
Nice.
a lot of it where somebody said, "Well, that's the way you changed your life to make it better." Like, it's still the same. I'm still injured. I'm still on disability. I still got the same problems and different things. It's just the way you approach them, and
Mm, yeah.
that's a lot of the way of what we talk about here.
Right.
It's kind of like I always thought that I knew all that stuff, but you don't always. It, I don't know.
Well,
What's my
you can keep learning at different levels and in different situations, the same things, but
and yeah, like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan, so they get punched in the face. Like, what? What does that mean?
yeah, right.
I just trying to make sure that my priorities are in line. And one of my old things that I used to always talk about was just try to stay on my purpose. What have I defined? What I want to be doing. What's my purpose here? And a lot of it is just I just want things to go smooth. You know,
Nice.
um, just been through a lot. The passing of my mother, it was just
Right.
4 months ago,
Yeah.
and the build up to that, watching her go through the suffering, it was difficult.
Yeah.
But then
Right.
other things, and now, but I have a new granddaughter, and she can't believe she's already in school. Take her every
Wow.
morning to get on the school bus,
Huh.
and she's picky about the lunch. So we got to pack her a lunch on the days they're not offering what she doesn't like, and blah blah blah. And, you know, I
Yeah. Good.
I don't mind. It's
Right.
all good. they're asking me to take them to get French fries after I get off with you today. So sure, why not? I'd be glad to do it. Uh,
Nice.
it's it's just worth it.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of the things, the one rule and the stuff that I've gone through with you after all this time, it's kind of like I think I already knew that stuff, and
Yeah,
but the more you keep it on your tongue and you keep it in mind, uh, the more it works, you know. And
right.
I've grown to have this awesome relationship with my daughter and my granddaughter that it's just all because I stay focused on my purpose of what I'm supposed to be doing and not losing track of where we're going and what we're doing. And I notice other people are joining in too. Like there's a lot of things that maybe I disapprove of other folks, how they act or the things they do. But I learned to lighten up a little bit and realize it's not all about me and how I perceive it. The world, it kind of is what it is, not what I want it to be. And
Hmm,
and
interesting.
you know what I mean? It's the reality of it, but I have to learn how to accept it and work with the cards that are dealt. And I'm getting a lot better at that. I uh I don't believe I don't have any anger issues anymore. Maybe if I were to go back and reflect, or maybe some of the regrets I might have had, maybe in past relationships and things like that, it might have been the way I handled things or not handled things,
Hmm,
uh, and or didn't understand where the other person was coming from, and things like that. That now I'm just trying to be more aware. I still want to please people, though. I don't. I want to help. I don't want to do anything that's negative. It's I just I'm happy to see people. I remember when I was a school teacher and a principal called me in her
yeah.
office, and I'd be in trouble. Like, why am I in trouble? Those kids are running in the hallway. They're running to your class. I'm in trouble for that? Yes, it's a danger. It's a dangerous thing, running in the hallway. Well, at least they're not running from it, you
Right.
know. Okay, I'll talk to them, stop running to class. Don't be so anxious to get to us.
Right. Yeah, I
Oh,
remember Children's House. Um, the children sometimes would not want to go. They wouldn't want to leave. They wanted to keep being there and doing what
yeah,
they were doing. They were
right.
having a good time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I get offers all the time, and sometimes I even apply for jobs, and I'll say to myself before I hit submit, before I uh, commit to an interview, what if I get this job? Then I'm going to have to do it. And so I just try to be careful. And sometimes I was just interviewing just for fun to keep my my skills up and things like that. But
Ah,
and this time, maybe it's not the right thing to do. I don't want to put people on. I don't want to.
oh,
You know what I'm saying? Like I
yeah.
did. I went to a job to be a band teacher. I went to the interview, and the woman was doing everything to offer me the job. He was even counting the steps to the restroom and all the things, and just letting me set my salary and blah blah blah. And there were some things
Ah,
I pushed her. I tried to get out of her. I don't want bus duty. I don't want lunch duty. Stuff like that. But then I felt that's not fair to the other teachers. I'm not any better than any other. If the other ones got lunch duty and bus duty, it's just my brothers that are like work for NASA or that are lawyers. They don't have lunch duty and bus duty. We went to the same college. But a lot of times that's where you get to meet some of the kids on a personal basis at lunch. I tried when I was teaching in a prison. I went to lunch a couple times to go eat in the cafeteria with the prisoners and the inmates. And again, found myself in the office with the warden. They're not your friends. You can't mingle with them. You can't go to their church services. So that was different. It was interesting.
Wow.
They didn't want me to be friends with them,
Huh.
but I said, well, so I didn't last there long. I didn't renew my contract because to me as a teacher, you're not just a drill sergeant, or
Right.
parole officer or a prison guard. You're their mentor. And to bring it full circle back to what I was just telling you, I just got a job with a company that's looking to hire me as a mentor for folks coming in from other countries.
Right.
Just to get them where they're comfortable. For me right now, my first assignment is for a girl, 20 years old, getting ready to turn 21. Does her grades are good. She lives in Russia, but she's being transferred to Houston with a company, and so she went the
Ah,
she went the extra mile to hire a company to have somebody shadow her. We're calling it, and just if she goes to some meetings and different things, somebody like me could be listening to conversations that I have with other folks, and just confirm that she understands what's being said, and that she's not, maybe in a cloud.
yeah.
We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be able to do it.
Yeah. It sounds interesting, and it's has flexibility. Um, it's not like having to be a particular place from this time to this time, this many days. It's like,
Yeah, they said once they hand me off to her, I have 6 weeks to spend with her, and I'll make the meeting times with whichever works for both of us.
right.
The way they got it set up, I don't have to keep a time clock or anything to get paid. They'll just see the hours that she turns in that she spent with me, and then
Yeah.
I'll get a direct deposit in my account. And I
Cool.
think one of my lines to them, it wasn't really about the money. I just kind of wanted to do this. In some ways, my dad used to say to me, Brian, how many hamburgers can you eat? How much money do you need? He's right. I always tell a story about the time I bought a Corvette. Like, what was I thinking? Grandma, there's not enough room for you and your groceries. You know, gonna have to wait here. I'll take the groceries. I'll come back to get you. What was I thinking buying a Corvette? Or you're under a bridge with your T-tops. You left them at home, and then and you got one headlight up and one down, and it's raining. People, stupid Corvette guy. Terrible, just terrible. Oh,
Was it fun
it,
otherwise?
it was annoying. I thought
Ah,
if I keep spinning around in circles when it rains and driving fast, I'm
wow.
gonna endanger people's lives, including myself. So
Hmm.
I had a, I need a safer car than a Corvette.
Right.
But I learned a lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now I see all these guys got these new trumpets. I'm thinking, I need to get on the bandwagon and get one of them. I know as soon as I do, the old ones will come back in style. So maybe I'll just stay with my old reliables, and I'll be the guy that does. And I got this crutch now thing. I got this brace on my foot. And a woman said to me, "You really rock that brace, don't you?" And I'm thinking, that's a good way to look at it. Instead of looking at myself as a crippled guy, that guy just rocks the brace.
Yeah, that sounds good.
When I sent a picture of me playing on stage with a brace on my foot to my surgeon, make him happy. Look, I'm back. You know,
Ah,
I use my bracelet to keep tempo.
all right. Right.
I played with these guys the other day. They called me up. The drummer said, "We need a horn player or something, spice some things up." Somebody in the audience said, "I'll get you on here in 20 minutes. I know Brian Kasperitis." They're like, "Oh, okay." So they called me. You can get him here. So I showed up. These guys, I didn't figure it out until I got up on the stage. They were using their their little cell phones and
Yeah.
just playing off this some program that they have. They all had one of these hooked to the music stand, So they were just, and the music was also going through the sound system. So I used to think that was cheating, but now it's just acceptable. That's their style of how they were playing music, you know.
Huh.
So, I went up there and just said, "Can you all play in the key of F, key of G, key of E?" Oh, look, let me see, let me check, like, no, no, no. Just one, two, one, three chords in E. No, no, that'll mess us. So that was just, I learned
Wow.
from, it was fun though.
That's
Yeah, they got their own way, and they're not the only ones. It's just a new way,
huh.
just a new way. These kids just learning how to play off. They just got dots rolling across the screen on their phone, and they just follow that with their instruments and play like
Huh.
that.
Wow.
It's not my style, but I can learn from them just as much as they learn from me. Is how I accept what they're doing, and I learn to do it their way too.
Huh.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
uh,
Working
and then
together.
yeah, and then the outcome, the overall outcome was success. And it worked out, and
Right.
we had fun.
That's
Like I said,
success.
a whole new brave world.
Right.
Learning to adapt with it.
Right. Yeah.
Loving it.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah.
So, what have you been working on lately?
Uh, well, I'm putting together all my stories,
Uh-huh.
and I'll be writing some more based on the newspaper column I had and the questions that people asked me.
Uh-huh.
Oh, in fact, that's a perfect lead in to something I was going to do. I'm gonna it's something that got started last week, and I was gonna finish it today. And
Okay.
it's an example of that. And
There's something we could do together here?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna screen share and go through what I was going to share, the first part of it, and then
Okay.
uh we can take it from there, see
Okay.
whatever. Okay.
All right. So what do you got? You got like a PowerPoint ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. We're both gonna be on, is that fine?
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
All right. Let's see.
He's, he's got my Bible here.
Huh,
I
how
keep this.
cool.
Got it all tore up and ripped up. They say, you can tell I use it. I got marks on it, and I got
Wow.
bookmarkers in here and stuff, different pages I
Nice.
refer to. I keep it right by me.
That is very cool. Okay, I'm going to do a slideshow, hopefully.
Okay.
This was one of the questions that someone in, when I had the newspaper column,
Okay.
um, people who knew me or heard of me would ask me questions and allow me to answer them in the newspaper. So that's what this is. Plus, it's a little short story that connected to it that is recent about the one rule. Because in these days, I was focused on the power of respect, like in the book that you have.
Okay.
And the one rule is sort of like a flower that came out of that, you know?
Okay.
Okay. So last week I was able to do part of this, but not the whole thing. So I thought that I'd start this way.
Okay.
Okay. So question, when my child goes off for a day or two to spend the night at his friends, he seems to come back home with a "don't bother me" attitude. He doesn't want to clean up his room or do any chores. He blames me for bugging him when he gets home. Okay, let's see if this, okay. How can I integrate him back at home in a harmonious way? I also have divorced friends who have similar problems with their children after they have been with the other parent. Answer. This is what I responded in the newspaper.
Okay.
Your behavior can make it easier or harder for your son to integrate himself back into the routines and flow of family life. You can help him by being welcoming, understanding, and compassionate, or you can hinder him by being impatient, demanding, or complaining, judgmental, or critical. In any case, he is the one who has to reintegrate into the home. You have to reintegrate yourself with him, taking him and his needs into account, which you have not had to do while he was gone. If he does not want to be bothered when he returns home, don't bother him. Let him choose his own time to begin to participate. Sometimes it is hard to shift behavior from one environment to another. The people in each place have different expectations and responses. It may take him some time to change his behavior to fit into either place. You're just seeing one end of his process. Maybe the other place is more relaxed for him because he has no duties or responsibilities, and it takes time to adjust to a situation where more is asked of him. Maybe the other place is exhausting in its demands, and he can't really be himself there. He might just need time to relax and let down his guard before he can take on more responsibilities. If it is important that he do chores like clean his room, when he gets home, maybe the two of you can work something out. Arrange to talk with him sometime when neither of you are feeling stressed. Share your concerns and needs with him and ask for his help to resolve this situation. Be sure you both understand each other. Here, as usual, the important thing is to discover ways of dealing with this that work for both of you. Possible respectful solutions. He does his chores before leaving for his friend's house. Someone else does his chores on the day he comes back. He does his chores on the day he comes back, but no one reminds him, and he does them when he is ready. No one bothers him in any way after he comes home until he lets everyone know it's okay. He didn't realize his behavior was causing a problem and cheerfully agrees to do his chores as soon as he gets home. This is new stuff now. Using the one rule would make working things out simple and easy. With the one rule, it's clear exactly what outcome you're both looking for, an outcome that you both feel good about and can agree to. Let's look at how one session between this mother and her son might go. I'll make up names for them. Hey, Jason, do you have a moment? I need some help to work something out. Sure, Mom. I've been wanting to use something called the one rule to help us figure out solutions to problems, so we all get to feel good about the decisions. I'd like us to figure out what to do about how things are when you come back from spending time with Mark and his family. Oh, that. Yeah. The person who teaches about the one rule suggests that the first time we use it, I start with these three things. One, we are each important. You are important and I am important. Two, we each deserve to feel good. Three, we are going to find a way for this to happen. Shall I tell you my problem? Then we can figure out what to do about it. I know your problem. You want me to do some chores. Well, that's part of it. Also, the way you treat me makes me feel bad. Just don't bug me about it. I know my chores. I'm just tired when I come back from Mark's. I've hardly gotten any sleep, and the first thing you start telling me is to do my chores. I'm sorry, I didn't know. What about this idea? When you get home, we're just glad to have you back, and you get to do your chores when it's good for you. That sounds good, but what if I don't get to them that day? Well, let's make sure you don't have any chores that need doing that day. That sounds great, Mom. Thanks for being here.
Like that
Okay.
scenario.
What?
I like that scenario. I get it.
Uh-huh.
I like your response. Um,
I'm going to
I,
stop the share, the screen share. Okay.
I think the best thing, and of course, this wasn't something that you, the first thing that I think a lot of parents that aren't educated, in the way that we're talking about how to handle things, will
Yeah.
say, every time you come back from that Mark guy's house, you act like this. Now, I'm not going to even let you go over there anymore if this is how it's going to be. That's not a way to solve things, but that's about how 9 out of 10 parents will handle that. You're not going
Right.
to Mark's anymore because every time you come back from there, you act like, you know, I don't know what goes on over there at Mark's house, but it ain't the same way we do things in this house. But no kid wants to be talked to like that. And if you already know your son, you have already established procedures and things that work for you already. And I think your consistency of when he comes home, letting them know that none of that stuff changed. You know, you might have been on a hiatus for both of you together, but when he comes back, you're still going to inspect what you expect from your son, and it should go both ways too. He's not going to want you. He might not admit it, but he's not going to want you to change your ways to act like her his friend Mark's parents or whatever they were getting along away with there. And it has nothing to do. It's not even relative to the relevant to the way you run your house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of parents might think that he's going to go home and try to push it. I don't think that's the issue in this case. I think just the habits are different, and he wants to come home and see what he can get away with and what he can't, and see what you're willing to do. And if you don't, even though the one rule is about bending and giving in, I don't think a
Wait.
lot of kids, they want discipline, they just don't know how to ask for it. And I think you have to uphold the way you've been doing things already when he comes home. Uh, if you already established your routines and all that stuff, he probably likes it better when his chores are done. You know, nobody
Uh-huh.
wants nobody wants to walk into a room where the trash wasn't taken out or the bed wasn't made, and people do care about that stuff whether they admit it or not. And like I said, the first thing was you didn't badmouth the Mark family or anything because we don't really know what's going on over there. We just know
Right.
when he comes home, he broke his routine, and it needs to know when he comes back, it's going to be consistent. Again, that you
Well,
haven't changed or left, right?
yeah, the thing with the one rule is those three sentences are really important. I hadn't realized that before, but they make a huge difference. The sentences of we are each important. That means, whatever you need and whatever I need, it's equally important.
Right. Mutual
Now,
respect.
we can flex with things, we can shift things. We can, if finding harmony is our goal, which as far as I'm concerned, that's really what the one rule is about, is finding harmony.
Right.
Then if that becomes our goal, and I think that's what the one rule asks of, that we find harmony, that's more
Right.
important. And so, but the thing is, it's important also that whoever's involved in this situation, like this case, the mother and the son, that
Mhm.
they don't have to agree to things that don't feel good to them. That's very important. That's part of harmony. It's
Yeah.
like if you blow a note on your horn that doesn't that's like totally not related um
Totally out of tune.
yeah, the music that's going on.
Doesn't fit in the box,
Yeah,
right?
that well, maybe that's not a good example.
Well, it could be
Anyway,
because
but the
if your
important thing,
son if your son came home and then you were totally off your track of how your relationship was with him prior to him going to that visit, he's not going to want that. He he not he's not going to know how to tell you, but you got to stick to how what worked for you in the past, right?
yeah, as long as it works for both of you, that's the thing. As that's the only thing.
Hmm.
That's um that's why the example that I gave is just an example, because if either person, if something else is important to them than came out in that example, well, then the whole little story would be different, because it what's important to the people is where you get the harmony. So um anyway, this came because you asked what I was doing.
Hmm.
That's one of the things, is putting together a book of the stories.
Oh,
Bec-
okay.
yeah, and I've also done I've done, I think, 5 um, Facebook Live. Well, actually, I did it through Zoom, but then I went on Facebook Live, and I called it Friendly Parent Story Time, because that's something I've been using recently. Um, someone gifted me that that concept, friendly parent, and it just seems to fit with the result. It's the result of the one rule that that's what it brings out in people, because anything other than that wouldn't go with harmony. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been, my concept these days is friendly parent, happy kids, or friendly parents, happy kids. That's what I've been working with. And oh yeah, I made a training. Well, you remember the book, The One Rule to Raising Happy Kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I made a mini version of that because Leslie, that one was 100 pages and about 50 of them were talking about how this all goes, and the other 50 were lessons, training. Anyway, so Leslie was feeling like this would be too big, too much for the people that she would connect with, that they weren't going to be reading all those pages. Okay, so out of that came the mini version. So I went through the book and I took out what I felt it's kind of like the one rule in a way, the result, because anyway, I'll tell you what I did with the book, but it's the same process I used to get to the one rule. I went through the main book, which I thought was a short book compared to like the one you have is a lot longer than that. Anyway, and I got, it's 16 pages.
Oh, so you condensed it down. Yeah.
Yeah. I took what seemed to me, in fact, I should probably send it to you so you could take a look at it. I took what seemed to me like these are essential points. If you get these, all the others are good to have understandings and stuff and practices, but if you do these, this will get you there. And so I went from 100 pages to 16 pages, which is pretty cool, I think. And then the next thing that happened was I turned it into a course. I used it because there's this man named Adam Fletcher who he's a youth advocate. I've been aware of him for quite a while and we've connected, and he came on the show once. Okay. Anyway, he was telling me he connected with this platform called Thinkific, and he was thinking of shifting all his stuff over to there. And he recommended that I do something on there. So I looked at it, I set up my profile and all of that. but nothing would come. I didn't know how to get started. Then when this book was done, at some point after it was done, it was like, oh, here's my guide. I can use this for the training. So I put together a training there on Thinkific, and I have one on my website.
Okay.
And it's like 5 lessons, and that's kind of a home study format at this point. That's how I'm doing it. And each one, they have a video and PDF, and on Thinkific they have audio too, but my website doesn't do that.
Are you happy with with the condensed version?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
It didn't make you think
The-
that the original 100 pages was too wordy? Like,
no,
you didn't have trouble eliminating certain words and things?
no, it
Nice.
wasn't so much the words, though I do try to keep that minimal now. I
Okay.
didn't used to, but I do. Just, I guess I like to do that, so it feels good to me. But concepts, there were more concepts in the bigger version. There were
Yeah.
more lessons in the bigger version, but
Okay.
I wanted to get to the ones that seemed, if you have these, they're going to help you.
So kind of your foundation.
The thing is that if you follow the one rule, right? The one rule that we find agreement, that's our, we're looking for harmony. That's our focus. If you just do that with that, like purely do that, you got it. You don't
Okay.
need the course, the book, the nothing, but people, because of the programming that, like all that they've learned over the years, there are certain things that can be sticking points for them that might keep them from being able to find harmony when they really want to. But these things are stronger and bigger, but you can overcome them with what you can pick up in the book and the training. They're combined in that mini version also. Anyway, so that's some of what I've been doing.
Okay. Yeah. And to me, it's like also gives you a chance to reiterate the work that you've already done and kind of take it into another format for a different perspective for someone, who might learn things in a different way rather than
Right,
like, right.
right. That's
And
why I have the PDF version, the video
yeah,
version, the audio version.
and
So,
it's another example how there's a lot of ways
oh,
to get to the end of things, to
right.
get to fruition. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I forgot to tell you, they're important too. Okay, they're the 5 lessons. And there's a Facebook group so people can do like interactive things, even with me, and I can answer questions there.
Yeah.
There's a Q&A, Zoom Q&A, and there's what I call the one rule in action. It's
Okay.
another Zoom, and that is where, I mean, I haven't done it yet, but and that's a whole story in itself. But it's where, if you're taking the class, well, you sign up for both of the Q&A, and you sign up for the Zoom. They're both Zooms. You sign up for the One Rule in Action. And then, well, like, let's say there was just one student, right? It can be up to 100 students, but let's say there was just one, then that one student and I could be partners, and we choose an issue, and then we solve it using the One Rule.
Yeah.
And if there are more people, they can go to breakout rooms. They have enough breakout rooms on Zoom and they can figure it out. Then they come back to the main area, which is this, and they share what they did, how they solved. They share what the problem was, or what the issue was, and what their solution was. Now they can share it just by telling, or they can share it by acting it out. And anyway, so
I like it.
So that's the
just
complete package.
like another approach.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, it's like reiterating something that already works, but you're going about it a different way. Kind of like in the education business, like a reteaching, you know, like not a review, but going about it a different approach and teaching the same thing again, but also a review, but also a learning process. I like
That's
it.
like what you were saying earlier, like about the getting the same, life is giving that same kind of thing,
Yeah.
learning the same lesson, but in a different way,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And sometimes applying what you know to another specific situation too. But
Right.
you already have prior experience, so it shouldn't be as hard to work through it this time. And you don't have to read the whole 100 pages. You can get it done with the shorty 16-page book this time.
Right.
Yeah, because like I said earlier too, I took some notes when you were doing your PowerPoint, and one of my key words were that you seemingly already have an established relationship with your son, so that's why he might not be coming home just acting like he's at Mark's house still. He knows that some of that stuff's not going to be acceptable. What he was getting away with there, or what they're doing, because they're not even on the same runway as the way you run your ship, he already knows that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he still knows that you're going to expect things to go back to the way they were. Even though you're willing to compromise, that doesn't mean you lowered your standards.
Right.
Of
Yeah, you
course.
don't have to give up what matters to you.
Right. And what you've been working on all along.
Right.
Yeah, I like it. Like it. You're still exploring the things that work.
Yeah.
I like that. I find myself sometimes looking for excuses, saying, "Well, this is different, and that's different. This is," but if you just make that half the page, and then go to things. They like, well, I still have this. I still have that. I still appreciate it. Next thing you know, that list could be a lot bigger than the negative list.
Yeah. Right.
I
Yes.
found myself reading through, my latest book, Your Life Sucks book, and just reading my own words because, when I wrote those words, I was in a rough spot. And now that time has passed me by, I just want to make sure and see if I still agree with how I was thinking then.
Yeah.
I was traumatized when I wrote that book, and I was trying to make the best of a situation. What it did was it brought a lot out of me that I wanted to share, and it's still good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still it's still meaningful things that came out of it. It just I was be able to share it now instead of holding it inside. And
Nice.
when you see the results of the people around you responding rather than reacting, I like to talk like that. Like
Yeah.
when you go to the doctor and he gives you medicine, he wants you to respond to the medicine and get better, not
Right.
react to it and get a rash, something's wrong, or go down a negative path. He wants to see that
Right.
you're responding to what he's putting forth, that things are going to work out.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. To me, it's all working out. I was talking to a relative last night, and she was like, "You think you would ever go back to the beginning when you first got started? Like, get to know the things I know now, or go back still being as ignorant as I was then, or maybe not ignorant's not the word, we're just uneducated as like, I don't know. I don't know. I was shooting in the dark for a lot of years,
Uh,
trying to figure things out and
yeah.
saying my way was the only way and not willing to compromise. And even people that don't have a big ego, I'm sure they need to admit that at times, they think their way or the highway, you know, it's not always how it goes.
Right. That's where the one rule can help.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
And I think people like us, I speak for myself, when I look at somebody like my daughter, who's become like, even though I'm her dad, and I raised her, and now I look at it, I need to let go and say, well, she's a grown woman. She's 31 now. Maybe she's not doing things exactly the way that I would want her, but she's found her own way, what works for her. And I look for outcome, for results. And as long as that's positive, we've succeeded. That's
Mm,
how I see it now. And
yeah.
you have to let them live their own life and make their own mistakes too.
Yeah.
You can't, but you can guide them.
Right. Yeah.
And I see that, like, I have a granddaughter now, so my daughter's relationship with my granddaughter and my relationship with my granddaughter are two totally different things. And
Mm,
I enjoy seeing that, but I like the way that we work together, and we have expectations, and we have established rules, fair fighting and all that kind of stuff. It might not be as defined, may not looking it up in chapter 7 or 8, but it's there. It just doesn't have to be said. And that brings us back to what you're saying, that mutual respect.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no reason to badmouth or trash anyone else's way of doing things if you don't have to. And that might have been, could have been your first thing about a son coming home. And when he was at Mark's house, it wasn't working out, there, but it'll work out when you get home. And maybe that kid was looking forward to getting home, getting back to routine, or getting
Right.
back to people that work with him a little bit better than what's going on at that place.
Right. Well, it's time.
Okay, goes fast, huh?
Yeah. This was
All right,
fun. Yeah. Good to see you.
all right, and yeah, and I need to move on. I got other things on the calendar,
I know. Yeah.
so it was great,
Yep.
and we'll be in touch on and off screen here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, Karen.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Nice to
Yeah.
be
Thank
back
you.
again.
My
All right.
pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Fun.